Welcome once again, and we are now going to discuss the Stokes law and the terminal velocity. So, suppose we have a body, this is a ball, and it is dropped inside a fluid, dropped with zero velocity in a fluid. So, when it enters the fluid, the forces which are acting on it, its weight is trying to bring it in the downward direction. Suppose the density of liquid is liquid in which it is dropped. So we are taking it liquid and not gas. Liquid is rho L and the density of the solid which is dropped, this is rho S. Mass of solid is M and its volume is equal to V. If I take it a ball, spherical ball, then V is 4 by 3 pi r cube. R is the radius of this ball. The viscosity coefficient of the liquid is eta. Now we know that this will attain a steady state, that is, it will attain a constant velocity after some time when this comes into equilibrium, this ball inside the fluid, liquid. So we have to find that velocity, and that velocity is called the terminal velocity. Now let us consider what are the forces which are acting on it. If I draw the free body diagram, W is the weight of this ball and the thrust force is acting in upward direction. This is the buoyancy force, and also a force comes into picture which is called the viscous friction or viscous drag or the viscous force due to the viscosity of the fluid. So this is acting opposite to the motion. So initially this force is 0. So when we drop it and it enters into this fluid, just enters. So at that point, initially Fv is 0. There is no friction drag. And also this friction force is depending upon the type of fluid and the shape of the object. So initially when this is 0, what happens? The weight of the body is more than the thrust force. So as a result, it moves downward, and after some time the friction increases to its maximum, the viscous drag. So we can write in this situation W is Ft plus Fv. So this is the condition of equilibrium, and when this happens, the net force acting on the body, sigma F, in the downward or upward direction, let us take this as positive x direction. X is 0. This means the acceleration becomes 0 in this direction. So this will have a constant velocity, that is called the velocity of or the terminal velocity. So I can write the equation for this. W is the weight. W is equal to mass into gravity, mg for this body, and mass is density of solid, volume into g, equal to the thrust force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced. So rho L V G plus the viscous force. And according to Stokes' law, this force is net force is given by 6 pi eta Rd plus the viscous force. So viscous force, you know, by Stokes' law, this is 6 pi eta R V. V is the terminal velocity. So this velocity V we have to find. So we can write rho S minus rho L, putting the value of V This is the value of Fv according to Stokes' law. So if you solve this, you can find the terminal velocity is given by 2 by 9 into r square divided by eta. So this law is called the Stokes law. The viscous force or viscous drag on the body is given by 6 pi eta v. Eta is the viscosity coefficient of the fluid. So it depends upon the radius of this object. Actually, we have taken here the simplified version. We have taken this to be a spherical or symmetrical object. So there are also non-symmetrical objects, and this law is applicable to them also. But the analysis is a bit difficult and beyond the scope of discussion as far as the syllabus is concerned. So we have taken this to be a symmetrical object like a ball. So, and this is directly proportional to the viscosity. So more is the viscosity, more is the viscous drag or the resistance offered by the fluid to the falling object, and more is the radius, so more is the projected area, and more will be the friction force acting on it. So from this you get the velocity of the terminal velocity is directly proportional to square of the radius. It is inversely proportional to the viscosity coefficient. So from this we can see that if V is directly proportional to rho s minus 1, if you have density of solid equal to density of liquid, terminal velocity is 0. It means that in whatever condition you put the solid, it will remain in neutral equilibrium. Neither it will go down nor it will move in the upward direction. Terminal velocity is 0, no terminal velocity attained. If the density of solid is more than the density of liquid, V is positive. That means it will move in the downward direction, and if this is less than this, V is negative. That will, it will, when you leave it, if the density of solid is less than density of liquid, if you leave it, it will move in the vertically upward direction. Now if you plot the graph of V with respect to R, you will find that this is a parabolic curve, and also with respect to time, the velocity first increases parabolically. Terminal velocity, so this velocity is the maximum velocity, Vt. This is general velocity, Vt, terminal velocity. This is the maximum value, and this is the time on this axis. So it first increases at a very fast rate, then the rate decreases, and after that becomes constant, and it will touch this at infinite time. That means after a very long time, as compared to the time which is required for this to fall. So this velocity will be attained in due time, and this is called the terminal velocity. So this is called Stokes law and the terminal velocity. So please note it down. Now let us discuss a question. We are having 3 water droplets, raindrops, each having radius r, mass of each is m, and density of water is rho. They are falling downwards with a velocity of v meter per second each. So the question is, when the 3 drops coalesce, join together, combine to make 1 drop, what will be the terminal velocity? V is the terminal velocity of each of these 3 droplets. So if they combine to make 1 drop, what will be the terminal velocity? Suppose V dash is the velocity of this. So mass becomes 3m as mass is conserved. So we have to find what is the value of V dash. So we know that mass is conserved. So initially, and that let us assume here, and that is also true, that the density remains unchanged. The fluid is same, water. So there is no compression of the fluid. Density remains unchanged. So we can say that the volume is also same. So initial volume is 3 times of 4 by 3 pi r cube, 3 drops. And suppose r is the radius, of this new droplet. So final volume of this new droplet is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Now we know that mass remains same. So V is equal to V dash as density is constant. So I can write equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. This gives us the radius of the new droplet is r into 3 raised to the power 1 by 3. This is the radius of the new droplet. Now we know that the terminal velocity is proportional to square of the radius. So terminal velocity of the first these drops is v divided by the terminal velocity of this combined raindrop is v dash. This is equal to initial radius is r divided by capital R square. So putting the value of r from here, so v dash equal to v into 3 raised to the power 2 by 3 meter per second. This is the answer. So now we have a question. What we discussed in the last topic regarding that there is a bubble, there is an air bubble, and this is rising in a fluid. This is the level of the fluid. The bubble has diameter 2r is equal to 2 mm. R is the radius, 2 mm is the diameter of the bubble, and it is rising inside a fluid with a velocity of 0.35 centimeter per second going upwards, and the density of the fluid is 1750 kg per meter cube. Now the question is, we have to find what is the viscosity of the fluid. So this is a question which is related to buoyancy, and you should know what are the forces acting on the bubble. It is rising in upward direction, so the viscous resistance will be opposite to the motion in downward direction. Weight in downward direction, but here weight is negligible. This is air bubble, so W can be negligible. And the buoyancy force. So displaces the liquid, liquid applies the force in upward direction, the buoyancy force. So if I neglect the weight W, because density of air is very small, 1.2 kg per meter cube as compared to the density of liquid 1750 kg per meter cube, then we can write in equilibrium buoyancy force equal to the viscous force. So we know that the buoyancy force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced. R is the radius of this air bubble. So 4 by 3 pi r cube multiplied by density of the liquid into g equal to, according to Stokes' law, this is 6 pi eta r v. V is the velocity. So from this equation you can find the value of the viscosity of the liquid, and this is equal to 2 by 9 r square rho L g divided by v. Now put the values in this equation. So 2 by 9, r is 1 mm, 2 mm is the diameter, 10 to the power minus 3 whole square. Density of liquid is 1750 into g is 9.8 divided by the velocity is 0.35 centimeter per second. Convert this into meter per second. So this will give you the value of this viscosity, and remember this is the dynamic viscosity. You will get this as 11 poise. Poise is the CGS unit of viscosity. In MKS system, I told you the unit of viscosity is Newton second per meter square, or sometimes also written as Pascal second. If you convert this into CGS system, 1 Newton is kilogram meter per second square multiplied by second divided by meter square. So this will give you kilogram per meter per second. So convert this into CGS and the unit will be poise. So the value of viscosity, dynamic viscosity of this fluid is liquid is 11 poise. So it's the fluid is having a high value of viscosity. So this is the answer. Please note it down. Now let us discuss the flow of a fluid through a pipe. Until now we have discussed about the ideal fluids, the application of Bernoulli's equation to the ideal fluid, which are having zero viscosity and totally incompressible. Now the real fluids, which are having certain viscosity and they are compressible also, the equation of Bernoulli cannot be directly applied to these fluids. We apply this with some modifications, that is called Euler's equation. Here I am not going to discuss the Euler equation, this is just for your knowledge. So this is the pipe, horizontal pipe through which a fluid is flowing, and let us take this section of the pipe, this much length L. This is section 1, section 2, the pressure at section 1 is P1 and pressure at section 2 is P2. Now there is a pressure difference. As the fluid flows, there is friction inside the flow, friction offered by the wall of the pipe to the fluid and friction among the particles or the molecules or the atoms of the fluid also. So as a result, the pressure decreases. You know that if I apply the Bernoulli equation to a horizontal fluid flowing through a pipe or any other conduit, and that is ideal fluid, in that case if you apply the Bernoulli equation, you will find that P1 is equal to P2. But here there is a difference of pressure. P1 is always more than P2. So in the direction of flow, the pressure decreases. Suppose the fluid is flowing in this direction with the velocity V. This is the radius of the pipe, small r is the distance measured from the axis of the pipe or flow towards the pipe surface. Small r is the distance. Now the velocity and the shear stress distribution, you should know how the velocity of the fluid varies at a distance r measured from the axis in this direction, and what is the distribution of the shear stress. So the velocity profile is always parabolic. You can show it like this. This is the pipe and the velocity is maximum at the center. Here this is the center. This is velocity. You can write this as V maximum. And general value will be V, which is a function of small r. And the shear stress is 0 where the velocity is maximum. So obviously velocity is maximum, shear stress will be 0. And here the velocity of the fluid which is in contact with the surface of the pipe is 0. So here the shear stress will be maximum. The profile of the shear stress is linear and we can show it like this. Here we have the maximum shear stress and here at the center the shear stress is 0. Now we can show this with the help of a formula also. P1 minus P2 is the pressure difference. So V at a distance r from the axis or velocity at any point in this or in this direction, this is equal to P1 minus P2 divided by 4 eta L into r square minus small r square, where eta is the viscosity, L is the length of the section, eta is the viscosity of the fluid. And what is V maximum? Maximum at r equal to 0. R varies in this or this direction, so at the center r equal to 0. So V r equal to 0, this is V maximum. And this can be found by putting r equal to 0 in this equation. R square. This is the maximum velocity and the ratio of Vr by V maximum equal to this 1 minus small r square by r square. So this is the parabolic variation. So velocity is parabolic. So note it down please. So this is a question. We are having a composite pipe. This is one pipe. The pressure at this end is 2P. This is having a radius r by 2. Length is L by 2. And we have these two pipes connected in parallel with this pipe. This pipe is having radius r by 2. Length is L. The lower pipe is radius r. Length is L. And another pipe connected in series to all these three. Radius r by 2. Length L by 2. So we have to find what are their flow resistances and the total flow resistance. So we know that the flow resistance X, or you can write or as R also. This is given by 8 theta L divided by pi R4 can be written as equal to K times L by R4. Where K is a constant, 8 theta divided by R4. So let us take this as A, B, C, D, E, F and GH. This is GH, EF, CD, AB to name the pipes. And their resistances are X is proportional to L by R4. So I can write the ratio of the resistances XAB to XEF to XGH to XCD. This ratio we have to find. Now if I take this pipe GH first, GH, this point is H. So XGH is equal to K times L by R4. Its length is L, radius is R. X of EF is K times length is L, radius is R by 2 to the power 4. 16 times, suppose this is equal to X, which is the resistance of this pipe. So this will be 16 times of X, and X of AB is K into L by 2 divided by R by 2 to the power 4. So this is 8X, and resistance of CD is K L by 2 divided by R by 2 to the power 4, also 8X. So we can show these values, writing the ratio here, equal to X AB is 8X, ratio EF is 16, GH is 1 and CD is 8. These are the ratios. Now you can find the total resistance, and we can show these pipes as offering the resistance to the flow in this way. So if I find the total resistance, this will be the combination of these two in parallel. So this will give you 8X, this resistance, plus sum of these two which are in parallel, 16X into X divided by 16 plus 1, 17X plus 8X. This is X total. So solving it, you can find the resistance, total resistance, and also you can find the flow. So you can calculate it, you will get the total resistance. 16X plus 16 by 17X, and this will give you 288 by 17X. 288 by 17X. Now if you want to calculate the total flow through this, so we can calculate the total flow. The flow is given by Q is equal to delta P, 2P minus P divided by total resistance, 288 by 17. So this I can write here into 17 multiplied by X. So X is L by R4 into K, and K is 8 eta divided by pi. So into 8 eta pi R4 divided by L. So this will give you the total value of the flow through this combined pipe, which is a combination of series and parallel. So these two, this pipe and this pipe, they are connected in parallel, in series, sorry, to these two pipes which are in parallel to each other. These two are parallel, and this is connected in series with the combination of these. And this will give you the flow, total flow through this pressure difference divided by the total resistance. Total resistance 288 by 17x. Put the value of x from here, this, and you will get the answer. So note it down, please.